My name is Linda Langley. I'm 63, retired after decades as a school secretary. I live in the same brick house I've cared for almost 40 years. My husband Frank was with me through all of it. His health was weak, but his mind stayed sharp until the end. One evening, sitting in the living room, he reached for my hand. Linda, promise me something, he said quietly. What's that? Don't let anyone push you around when I'm gone. The house is yours. I made sure of it. I squeezed his fingers. You don't have to tell me twice, but I'd rather have you than the house. He smiled faintly. I know, but still, you'll be safe. Our son Daniel had grown distant over the years. He stopped by only when Sophie, his wife, pushed him. Conversations felt rehearsed. One Sunday dinner, I asked, Daniel, you haven't called much. Everything all right? He gave a short laugh. Work's been crazy, Mom. Don't worry about me. Sophie added, We'll take care of things when the time comes. You just enjoy yourself. The words lingered in my mind, when the time comes. I didn't press them, but I should have. Across the fence, my neighbor Martha often dropped by for coffee. You still keeping Daniel's old room ready? She asked once. Of course, I said. No matter how old he gets, he'll always have a place here. Martha gave me a look, half sympathy, half warning. Kids change, Linda. Sometimes more than we expect. I laughed it off, but something about her tone stayed with me. Looking back, those little moments were the first cracks. At the time, I believed in Frank's promise. I believed my family would honor it. I didn't know betrayal was already waiting at my door. Frank passed on a quiet Tuesday morning. The funeral was simple. Neighbors, a few friends, Daniel and Sophie standing stiff by the casket. I held on to Frank's last promise like it was air. The house is yours, Linda. A week later, I sat at the dining table with Frank's old file box. Inside was the will, signed and notarized years earlier. Every line was clear. The house, the savings, everything came to me. I pressed my hand to the paper. Thank you, Frank, I whispered. That afternoon, Daniel arrived. He didn't ask if it was a good time. Sophie followed him in, arms crossed. Daniel placed a folder in front of me. Mom, we need to talk. I frowned. About what? Dad left a newer will, this one. I opened it. My stomach tightened. At the bottom was Frank's name, but the strokes were neat, careful, too careful. This isn't the will Frank showed me, I said. Daniel leaned back. He updated it. He wanted me to handle things. You'll still live here, but legally, it's mine now. Yours? I looked straight at him. Your father told me over and over the house was for me. He promised. Sophie cut in, voice smooth. Linda, it's not about promises. It's about what's best. Daniel knows how to manage property. I pushed the papers back across the table. This isn't right. Daniel's eyes hardened. It's legal, Mom. Don't fight it. Dad trusted me. I stayed silent, but inside, suspicion burned hotter than grief. I kept Frank's will on the table for days. The official one was signed before witnesses, sealed by the notary. Daniel's version looked too clean, too polished. Martha stopped by one evening carrying a plate of cookies. She lowered her voice. Linda, I overheard something at the hardware store. Daniel was talking big, said, Soon the house will be mine. Just a matter of paperwork. My stomach dropped. He actually said that? As clear as day, Martha nodded. He even joked about repainting the place. I brought her inside and showed her both wills. She studied them, squinting. This one, she tapped Frank's real will. This has the notary stamp. This other? The signature doesn't look right. I sighed. Frank Sev always leaned forward. Here it's too perfect. Martha frowned. Linda, you can't let this slide. If he's lying, you need proof. Later that night, Daniel called. Mom, have you looked over the papers? Yes, I said firmly. Then you know what needs to happen. What needs to happen, I shot back, is that you stop pretending your father changed his mind. He didn't. There was silence. Then Daniel's voice turned cold. Don't make this harder than it has to be. When the call ended, I stared at the phone, my hands trembling. Frank's promise echoed in my head. The house is yours, Linda. For the first time, I realized Daniel wasn't mistaken. He was lying. Saturday morning, I was trimming the roses when Daniel's car pulled into the driveway. He didn't even greet me. Sophie followed, arms folded, eyes sharp. Daniel strode up to the porch, holding the folder. Mom, enough stalling. Sign the transfer papers. The sooner it's done, the smoother things will be. I set down my gloves. Transfer? Daniel, your father left everything to me. I saw the notarized will with my own eyes. He slammed the folder on the porch rail. That will's outdated. This one is current. Tyrrell, he wanted me in charge. Sophie added softly, almost rehearsed. Linda, this isn't about taking from you. It's about protecting the family. I looked at her squarely. Protecting the family? By pushing me out of my own house? Daniel's jaw tightened. Mom, don't make this ugly. We'll let you stay here, but the deed has to be in my name. That's final. I stepped closer, my voice steady. Your father promised me this home. He told me himself. I won't let you rewrite his words. His face hardened. If you won't cooperate, the court will. You'll lose more than the house if you fight me. Sophie tugged at his arm. Daniel! But he cut her off. She needs to understand we're serious. I didn't flinch. And you need to understand, Daniel. If you think I'll roll over, you don't know me at all. The silence that followed was heavy. For the first time, I saw something in his eyes I couldn't ignore. Greed, plain and sharp. 2 weeks later, I came home from the grocery store and found my key didn't fit. I tried again. The lock had been changed. The front door opened. Sophie stood there, arms crossed. Linda, it's better this way. Less confusion. I pushed forward. Where's Daniel? She stepped onto the porch, closing the door behind her. He's handling things. You'll have a room at Willow Oak Senior Living. It's already arranged. My chest tightened. You're putting me in a home? This is my house. Daniel appeared in the doorway, holding the folder like it was a weapon. Mom, it's done. The house is mine now. You can make this easy or hard. Don't embarrass yourself. I set my grocery bags down, hands shaking. Frank built this life with me. He told me, he promised, everything was mine. Daniel's voice turned cold. Dad trusted me to take care of things. You're clinging to the past. Accept it. I glared at him. No court in this country will honor a forged will. He smirked. Then take it to court. By the time you're done, you'll have nothing left. The door slammed in my face. Martha found me on the porch, tears stinging but anger rising sharper. Linda, come stay at my place tonight, she said, pulling me close. I whispered, he thinks he's won, but this isn't over. At Martha's kitchen table, I spread out both wills again, the official one Frank signed years ago and Daniel's so-called new version. Martha leaned over. Linda, look, this one has witnesses' names. The other? Nothing, no stamp, no date from a notary. I traced Frank's signature on the real will, the uneven F, the quick slash through the K. I'd seen him write it 1,000 times. Then I looked at Daniel's document. Every letter was too neat, too uniform, like someone had practiced it. I whispered, this is fake. Martha put a hand on mine. Then you can fight, but you need more than suspicion. That night, I pulled out Frank's old desk drawers, searching through files he left behind. Tucked inside a yellow envelope was a letter from Frank's lawyer, Mr. Harlan. It confirmed the will we'd signed together. Nothing had changed. The next morning, I called the number at the bottom of the letter. Harlan Law Office. A young assistant answered. This is Linda Langley. My husband Frank was your client. I need to know, did he ever update his will? After a pause, she said, no, ma'am. Our records show the last version was signed 5 years ago. It leaves everything to you. I closed my eyes, relief and fury mixing in my chest. Thank you. That's all I needed to hear. When I hung up, Martha was watching me. Well, I held up the letter. I have proof. Daniel's document is nothing but a forgery. Martha smiled grimly. Then it's time to fight back. Martha wasted no time. Linda, you can't face Daniel alone. You need a lawyer who will fight like hell. The next morning, she drove me downtown to meet Elena Ruiz, a young attorney with sharp eyes and a firmer handshake than I expected. We sat in her office, the real will and Daniel's forgery laid out side by side. Elena scanned them, tapping her pen. This second one is sloppy. No witnesses, no notary, and the signature. I can see it's traced. I'll have a handwriting expert confirm. I leaned forward. Daniel already changed the logs. He thinks I have no chance. Elena looked up. Then let's prove him wrong. First, we authenticate your husband's valid will. Second, we discredit the forgery. Third, we prepare for court. Martha crossed her arms. And if Daniel plays dirty? Elena smirked. Then we play smarter. He thinks age makes you weak. It doesn't. It makes you prepared. I exhaled slowly. How long will this take? Not long enough for him to sell the house out from under you, Elena said. I'll file an injunction today that will freeze any transfer until a judge decides. I felt something shift inside me, not just anger, but resolve. All right, I said. Let's do it. He's not taking what Frank left me. Elena nodded. Good, get ready, Linda. This won't just be a fight for your house. It'll be a fight for your dignity. The courtroom smelled faintly of old wood and coffee, but my focus was on Daniel, sitting across the aisle with Sophie. He looked confident, smug even, tapping his folder like it held a winning hand. The judge entered. We are here to determine the validity of two conflicting wills regarding the estate of Frank Langley. Daniel's lawyer rose first. Your Honor, the later document clearly names my client as the rightful heir. Mr. Langley trusted his son to handle the estate responsibly. I clenched my hands, but Elena touched my arm. Wait, she whispered. When it was our turn, Elena stood tall. Your Honor, the so-called later document is a forgery. No witnesses, no notarization, and handwriting that doesn't match Frank Langley's authentic signature. We have both the original, properly executed will and expert testimony. Daniel shot me a glare, then leaned toward Sophie. Stay calm, she whispered, though her voice cracked. The judge lifted the forged will. Mr. Langley, where are the witnesses? Daniel hesitated. Dad, he didn't think it was necessary. He trusted me. Elena stepped forward. Your Honor, trust doesn't erase legal requirements. This document is invalid on its face. And once our handwriting expert testifies, it will be more than invalid. It will be exposed as fraudulent. Daniel's lawyer objected. Speculation. The judge waved him off. We'll hear the expert. I watched Daniel shift in his chair, his earlier confidence slipping. For the first time, he looked uneasy. Elena whispered to me, This is just the beginning. Stay steady. We've got him. The judge adjusted his glasses. Call your first witness. Elena rose. We call Dr. Harris, handwriting expert. A silver-haired man stepped forward, swore his oath, and took the stand. Elena handed him both wills. Dr. Harris, what do you see? He held them up for the court. The genuine will, signed 5 years ago, shows natural variation. The forged one? Every stroke is deliberate, almost mechanical. This is a traced signature. The judge frowned. Your conclusion? Without doubt, this second document is not authentic. Whispers spread across the courtroom. Daniel's jaw tightened. Next, Elena called Martha. She walked to the stand, chin high. Mrs. Langley's neighbor, Elena said. Tell the court what you overheard. Martha folded her hands. 2 weeks after Frank passed, I heard Daniel in the hardware store. He told someone. Soon the house will be mine, just a matter of paperwork. He laughed about repainting the place. Elena nodded. And did Frank ever mention changing his will? Martha shook her head. Never. In fact, he told me more than once. This house belongs to Linda. She deserves it. I caught Daniel's eyes. He looked down, shifting in his seat. The judge leaned forward. Mr. Langley, do you have any response to this testimony? Daniel stood slowly. My father, he wanted me to have responsibility. Maybe he didn't say it to everyone, but he told me. The judge's voice sharpened. Where are your witnesses to that claim? Where is the notary? Silence. Sophie grabbed his arm. Daniel, sit down, she whispered, but the damage was done. I exhaled, steady for the first time. The truth was no longer just mine. It was out in the open. During the recess, I stepped into the hallway. The air smelled of coffee from a vending machine, but all I noticed was Daniel leaning against the wall, Sophie whispering furiously at his side. I walked straight toward him. Tell me, Daniel, I said, my voice low but sharp. When did you decide your father's death was your chance to steal? He stiffened. It's not stealing. Dad wanted me in charge. I narrowed my eyes. Don't lie, he told me with his own voice. Days before he died, the house is yours, Linda. Sophie jumped in, her tone cold. Maybe he told you what you wanted to hear, but he trusted Daniel to handle things. I turned on her. Handle things? By forging his own father's name? By throwing me out of my home? Daniel's face flushed. You don't understand. I've carried the weight of this family while you sat here clinging to memories. My voice didn't shake. I carried this family when you were a boy. Double shifts, braces, nights alone when Frank was in the hospital. Don't you dare talk about weight. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. For once, he had no script. I leaned closer. You wanted control. You thought I'd fold because I'm old. But you miscalculated, Daniel. You forgot who raised you. Sophie whispered, She's bluffing. The judge hasn't ruled yet. I pulled Frank's notarized will from my purse and held it up just enough for them to see the seal. No bluff, I said. This fight isn't just about papers, it's about truth, and truth always leaves a mark. Daniel's jaw clenched, his eyes hard, but behind them, I saw fear. When court resumed, the judge's tone was clipped. Mr. Langley, your document lacks witnesses, notarization, and credibility. Do you have any further evidence to support its validity? Daniel's lawyer cleared his throat. Your Honor, while the paperwork may appear incomplete, intent should be considered. Frank Langley wished. The judge cut him off. Intent is irrelevant without legal procedure. This court relies on law, not assumptions. Elena rose. Your Honor, beyond handwriting analysis and testimony, we've also obtained a letter from Frank's attorney, dated 2 months before his death. It states explicitly that no changes were made to his will after 2018. She handed the letter to the clerk, who passed it to the bench. The judge read in silence, then set it down, his eyes fixed on Daniel. Mr. Langley, forging legal documents is a crime. Do you understand the seriousness of your position? Daniel shifted in his chair, sweat visible on his collar. I thought Dad wanted me to answer the question, the judge snapped. Daniel swallowed hard. Yes, Your Honor. Sophie reached for his hand, whispering, Stop talking. Elena spoke again, her voice steady. Your Honor, my client is not only the rightful heir under the law, she is also the victim of a deliberate attempt to defraud her. We request that the forged will be declared null and void and that the matter be referred to the district attorney. The judge nodded slowly. I am inclined to agree. A murmur spread across the courtroom. I kept my gaze on Daniel. For years, he had spoken to me with easy charm, with half-truths and promises. Now his voice failed him, and all that remained was silence. For the first time since Frank's death, I felt the ground tilt back beneath my feet. The courtroom was silent when the judge returned with his ruling. He cleared his throat, voice firm. This court finds the 2018 will, notarized and witnessed, to be the valid and controlling document. The second document submitted by Daniel Langley is fraudulent and therefore void. Mrs. Linda Langley remains the sole heir and owner of the estate. Furthermore, evidence of forgery will be referred to the district attorney for criminal review. The gavel struck once, echoing like thunder. Daniel's face drained of color. Sophie whispered, Daniel, what have you done? But he couldn't answer. His hands clenched the table, knuckles white as the bailiff approached. Elena leaned toward me, voice low. It's over, Linda. You've won. I stood slowly, the weight of months of fear lifting from my shoulders. I looked at Daniel one last time. You tried to erase me with lies, I said, my voice steady. But truth doesn't disappear. Not then, not now. He looked away, shame written where arrogance once lived. Outside the courthouse, the sunlight hit my face. Martha hugged me tight. Frank would be proud. You fought, Linda. You didn't let them take you down. I smiled faintly. No one steals my life and walks away with it, not even my own son. As we walked to the car, Elena asked, What now? I answered simply, Now I live, on my own terms. And to you listening right now, this was my story, but I know many of you have your own. Betrayal leaves scars, but standing up for yourself leaves strength. If this story touched you,